Welcome to Blink 155, one of the internet's many Blink 182 related podcasts, but the only Blink 182 podcast whose intro has been hijacked this week by me. This is former guest of the pod, current and self-proclaimed best friend of the pod, Chris Cresswell. You may recall my band, the Flatliners, from the recently unearthed cover from what must have been years ago by the absolutely incredible Rolling Coasters. Well done, fellas. Now, I know what you're thinking out there. You're thinking, thank you, Sam. Thank you, Josiah, for giving my ears a much-needed break and inviting this kind, loving, soulful voice into my ears while I zone at a green light on my morning drive to work. While I flush the toilet an extra time just to be sure. While I burn my entire breakfast from this newfound audible infatuation, but mostly from sheer depression and exhaustion. Anyways, to that, I say that Sam and Josiah say, you're welcome. Nation, do I have a story for you? It's Nation, right? It's really like hippie kind of We Are One vibe to all us true heads choosing to reside under one cultural roof painted with the colors of Blink 182 songs, isn't there? It's like we all live in a big giant frat house together, but instead of ancient Greek letters to signify our home, it's just that iconic yet geometrically problematic rabbit up there. Something like that. Anyways, here's the story. This past weekend, I was in Las Vegas for punk rock bowling, and as I was standing in front of the epicenter of boots and braces, of craps tables and crass tattoos, of mohawks and margaritas, the fabulous Golden Nugget, I was reminded that there was another show in town. As I gazed out into the dusty bowl of beer cans, a van turned the corner directly in front of me. But this was no ordinary van, no. This was a van with a giant light-up billboard on either side of it. And what was on the giant light-up billboard on either side of it? Well, actually, I don't know what was on the other side of it. But on the side I saw, it was a big, beautiful advertisement for the Blink 182 concert residency at the Palms happening this same weekend. Are you kidding me? I frantically ripped my phone from my pocket through the front of my pant leg. You guys owe me new jeans. And I took a photo of this enamoring sight, sending it to Sam and Josiah straight away, who then sent me on the most important mission of my young life. I was to enter the field. I was to be their boots on the ground. I was to find a way into that Blink 182 concert at the casino. And Nation, I succeeded in my mission. This was no easy feat, though, since I myself do not know anyone personally in Blink 182. But after 5 or 6 painstaking minutes of thinking which of my friends do, it dawned on me that I might just be able to make this work. After the maximum amount of minimal thought and one single text message, it was a done deal. I could already feel the euphoria pouring over me. I was cashing in every ounce of good karma that had been coming my way, and the universe was truly smiling down on me, people. I rendezvoused with my friends, who will remain nameless for absolutely no reason, and we hit the road in a very overpriced Uber over to the Palms. The burst of mysteriously fresh air inside a casino you can hack darts or smoke cigarettes in was instantly intoxicating and equally as confusing. We were greeted by a lovely young lady who asked for our names and held us in suspense for about 5 or 10 minutes before handing over what is now my most prized possession: all access passes to the friggin' gig. We rushed down the closest staircase, and then another, all leading us to our Mecca, the backstage area. Nation, I was all but trembling at this point. The combination of panic-level excitement and the veggie burger I ate for lunch earlier that day had me in a very unique state. We passed Matt's dressing room. We passed Travis's dressing room. We passed Mark's dressing room. We're passed by a shorter gentleman dressed as Elvis, heading in the opposite direction, who had, I guess, just introduced the band. And then we had arrived. Side stage for the Blink 182 casino gig. And they're pretty good. Yeah, it was cool. Skibo got my friend passes and they brought me along. And they opened with a bunch of hits and even played an acoustic version of Windy Clear. Blink rips. See you at the slots.
So Josiah,
you've done this whole thing where, like, we assume that there's going to be a cold open from someone else.
Yeah.
So that means no welcome to Blink 155, the internet's whatever this week's one might have been. We'll never know. But not only that, but all day I've been thinking about how I was going to try to say something about people canceling their Patreon subscription, and then it was like a long lost fee.
Oh, so you've been working up to something. I
was
feel
thinking
so
about
bad
something,
now.
but it's so horrible that I'm glad that I didn't have to do it and that no one will ever hear it. So that's good. I think you saved all of us.
Okay,
the
so
trouble
that's
of that.
I like made an important decision that we would ignore a cold open, ignore trying to say the title. But now I'm kind of curious, how you would have fumbled your way into that Patreon joke. I feel like I would have enjoyed it.
Thank God we'll never have to find out because
You know what? In a lot of ways, knowing how that would have felt is in and of itself a long lost feeling.
Can you just keep plugging the start of the song in every time we say it?
Every time we say it. And even like I also hadn't thought, sometimes like during the day, my mind will wander and I'll think about what kind of like, what's happened during the week, what sort of welcome to is a funny joke. And I hadn't really thought about it. And so that's also a long lost feeling.
Well, on this podcast, we make a lot of masturbation jokes. I don't know if you've noticed, but occasionally we've discussed the concept of edging and nofap, which I would also describe as a long lust feeling. Now, have you been watching Westworld?
I watched the first episode of the new season, and then I saw a lot of tweets about how fucking dumb it was, and I just decided to stop because life is too short.
It has this long lost feeling. We need to cancel this podcast. This is a new low. This is horrible.
The last episode of Blink 155. It's been a pleasure not even making it halfway with you, Josiah. This was a real thought I was having, though, on my way home. I was listening to the song Long Lost Feeling. And I assume I'll play it.
Are you going to do it again?
Yeah.
I'm hoping that by now you've plugged the song in about 10 times.
Yeah, it will have happened quite a bit. And just to be real with you, Josiah, because we're friends, and obviously everyone listening to this, we're all friends. It's been a long day. I'm not in a great mood, and I've really been. Yeah, I'm quite blessed. I have an amazing job. I'm very, very fortunate to love what I do 99.9% of the time. And sometimes you sort of butt up against just the great futility of any labor. And that's been the kind of day I've had, where I truly not am questioning because I know the answer. I am aware of the utter insignificance of the things that occupy my hours, my precious hours on a beautiful sunny day, those precious moments that I've been given of life on Earth. And then just sort of getting home, listening to this song, thinking like, I fucking hate this song, and I'm going to go home at the end of this fucking stupid goddamn fucking day and talk about this stupid fucking... I forgot the name of the song 30 fucking times before I got home. I fucking hate this song, and this is the first time since like the beginning of the pod where it felt like the easy joke was to say like, wow, life is a gift, and we're talking about blank. And we kind of abandoned that.
You're actually mad about it today.
Today is the day where I was like, everything I did today is fucking pointless, and I'm about to go home, and I know there's going to be no fucking covers, and you're going to have some fucking TV repair-ass videos, and I'll eventually think it's funny. But
and by the end, you're going to love the song, too.
Exactly.
That's the other part.
That's the great part.
And that almost is the most futile part of it all.
Yeah.
That no matter how hard you're trying to posture right now like you're a tough guy, you know that this like closing credits Acid Disney song is going to get to you.
It's true. Yeah, also like the ultimate futility of my own opinions and the fact that I am a wispy nothing, like just making shit that doesn't matter and, concocting sort of preposterous positions that I'll attempt to defend for like an hour and 45 minutes until I eventually admit that, like, actually it's kind of sick. And that's me. I'm fucking nothing. How are you, Josiah?
Wow. I mean, I'm a little grumpy today, too, to be honest.
Why? What happened to you today, man?
No real reason. I just haven't been sleeping lately. My apartment, like I said last week, is too hot.
Do you have a shirt on?
Right now.
Oh, wow.
Right for now. for now.
If you can just let
yeah.
us know, so people, again, I think the great sort of visual treat that is Blink-155 can continue as they imagine your
I'll let
skin.
you know when the shirt comes off.
Thanks.
And but it's funny too because it's sort of interesting to compare this to last week when you were so excited about how sunny it was outside, but now this week the ride home from work and the sunniness is not it's not pulling on your heartstrings. Did you not ride home from work in the back of a BMW?
I did. I was not in the back of a BMW, so that kind of affected things. I was.
But I can't believe how much you hate this song.
You know what? I want to like this song, and I actually really love parts of this song, and it's what makes the failure of the song that much more frustrating to me. I listened to it. I walked home. It's about a 15-minute walk, so I was able to get through the song a few times, and I kept wanting it to kind of connect for me because, again, I'm kind of frustrated. I'm not in a great mood. This is like a good song for a bad mood. It's a somber. It's sadder than I am. I'm not sad right now, but
Yeah, that's the problem. You're not sad.
Exactly.
Because I haven't slept, I'm kind of sad just from being tired. So I'm like, oh my God, this song.
This song relating to all of the people that you've written songs for on broken guitars that made them walk away or whatever. Song makes me fucking walk away.
All right. Let's calm down here. We're getting a little worked up.
I'm sorry. But there are parts of this song that work so effectively, and I don't know sort of how we want to kind of get into this.
Well, let's just start by maybe another thing is that I picked this song thinking that we hadn't done a bad song in a while, and so I was like, oh, let's do a really shitty California Deluxe one. But then I put it on, and I'm like, oh, it's not as shitty as I thought. So maybe because once again, I go into this world expecting garbage, and you go into it expecting high fives and bro hugs. That's why it's disappointing to you, but pleasantly surprising to me.
It's true. It is a matter of sort of perception and expectation. So, for me to be able to jump in the back of a BMW and listen to Waggy, I feel a certain way. And so to kind of be stuck with this, where you had said very explicitly, okay, let's do a garbage Cali Lux track. How about Long Lost Feeling? I literally had to look up at the file to make sure I was saying it right. And it's the hook of the song. It's so utterly forgettable. And so you suggested this, and I said, sure, I can't even remember how that song goes. That seems like a perfectly shit song to do. And then you paused for a moment and were like, oh, wait, I actually kind of love this song. So why don't you explain to me, the cynic, what you, the posy men,
truly traded bodies. This is crazy.
I heard the song Freaky Friday by Lil Dicky in the back of an Uber today, which also really fucking set me off. So that's kind of, maybe that's what's happened here is in some sort of vaguely racist way, we've swapped bodies, and now one of us is going to start saying the N-word, and I'm not going to be sure if it's problematic or not.
Wait, he doesn't actually say it in that
No,
song,
but
right?
Chris Brown says it sort of as Lil Dicky.
As him, yeah. That's a real it's a real mindfuck.
It is, right? It's designed to if you're like me and you're super primed to rail against white privilege, even when it comes to Argentinians, Lil Dicky and Chris Brown sort of trading off N-bombs is a tough one for your performatively woke brain to process, for sure.
Right. I mean, it's been a tough week for everyone with that kind of stuff. I mean, we've got Drake in blackface.
Oh my God.
We've got Roseanne doing whatever she's doing. It's crazy out there right now.
Well, I also kind of did want to see if we could shoehorn in the Pusha Drake thing, because obviously I am, recording my half of the pod here in Toronto, and this was all blowing up last night for me. Not to spoil when we're recording this podcast, but a friend of the pod, Aaron Zorgel, was walking. We were at Slayer, and he was getting all these text messages about the Drake Pusha beef, and he was walking home with a few other people, and they were just sort of remarking how this is the end of Toronto. Like by the time you're listening to this podcast, the real estate
no longer.
The real estate prices will be tumbling. I'll be able to afford a house in this city. All of the tattoo shops, all of the barber shops, everything will be shut down. It'll be back to Toronto the good in the 80s because Toronto is just over. Like Pusha didn't just...
no one outside of Canada knows. They might assume that Toronto has always been like a rap city. And I didn't mean to do a pun with that, but
yeah.
There was like, what was that? Like 45 years ago, the song Northern Touch came out, and then nothing happened, and then Drake happened.
Yeah.
And now Drake is over. So now it's back to like, I don't even know.
I mean, I guess it's just B&L. Like that's all we have now. So Pusha bodied the entire city of Toronto and made my house affordable to me. So I appreciate that. So
maybe that's why you're in a bad mood.
I think it's just it's just it's just not fair. Why do you have to go after 40 for his MS? Like that, it's a bridge too far. But it did, sort of set me on a path of like, can we lean into our incredibly one-sided podcast beef with the Alkaline Trio podcast? Like, should we reveal that they are like fake corpsmen? I have no idea where we'd go with this, but I just like now I'm in sort of the beef zone.
I think if we were to write a diss track about them, it would be like, you guys host an Alkaline Trio themed podcast that has no jokes.
Yeah, like
that would drop the mic.
That would be distressing for them. And look, like there is a really like, even though Pusha is from, I guess, like New York, the album, like Daytona is totally produced by Kanye, so there is an organic Chicago connection. So, Alkaline Trio Chicago, I believe the Alkaline Trio podcast people are from Chicago. We're Toronto. So on some level, we are the like one-sided, utterly useless, who could possibly give a fucking shit version of the Pusha Drake beef. So Josiah, what do you like about the song "Long Lost Feeling" by Blink-182?
So right there is where we would have had our normal cold open. But now it's just all fucked up, and now I got to say the song title again: "Long Lost Feeling." You can play it there.
I'm not. I've stopped editing at this point. Like I've lost interest. So
damn it. Well, okay. A few things. First of all, and this is very nerdy, but I love when a chord progression starts with the half step down and then it goes up. It's the same as on Dick Lips. Like the chord progression of this song is just like the half step down on the root note and then moving it up. And that will always, as someone who loves like Pedro the Lion and shit like that, that will always tug at me. I can't help it. It's so good.
Love to get tugged, eh?
Love to get tugged. And then along, that's what I would call a long lost feeling.
It's not getting played again. No,
cue it there.
It's not fucking happening, dude.
I'm gonna add it to my half of audio.
Right. So I'll be talking over it every time.
Exactly. So there's that, and then also I don't know. Everyone was saying that this sounds like Plus 44, and I assume that that's because it's Mark Hoppus singing on it. Very clever people on the Reddit, but. I think there are some Plus 44 songs that kind of sound like it, but it almost to me sounds like, it's weird that I'm saying this as a good thing because I don't particularly like this band, but to me this could, if someone told me this was a newer Death Cab for Cutie song, I would believe them.
Oh, that's interesting. I mean, that kind of ties into what I like about the song, or what I at least respect about the song if I don't like the song itself, which is that it feels like at any given time it's about to go kind of full Feldy, like a big... Think of the end of California. Like, I listening to it again was like, where does it go just like supernova and start like exploding with na-na-nas and just like a wall of guitars? But this song actually stays very effectively small in a way that it's
almost classy, in my opinion.
It is. It's tasteful, which is surprising given how many like splash cymbals there are in it.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's the other thing is like the drumming is still very corny, but it's kind of like mixed in a way where it's not right in your face. So you can just sort of like everything just breathes nicely, and it's that's another reason why I love it. I guess we're in the same boat. Like you think that it's gonna get full cornball, and then it doesn't.
Yeah, and so I respect that, and instead you kind of have this like, what feels like a bridge, and then the song is just over, where I kind of feel like, I actually really wonder if this song ended up being on the record itself, whether they would have put more time into it and eventually someone like Feldy would have said,
ruined it.
we have to do like a massive version of the chorus, because it does build a little bit, right? You get kind of a small version, and then you get kind of the full drum version, but then you just have this. Like I said, when you first hear it, it sounds like a bridge. It's really just like a fucking coda, and then it's kind of over. And that feels, kind of like that could be Death Cabby. Like it's a little bit more of a like restrained indie rock approach to song structure.
Mm-hmm. And to me, it's like that. I guess this is what I think someone in their 40s should be doing experimentally, like doing something like make a small song that is a stripped down version of everything that you do so well. Like there's sort of like the bass chord, the 2-note bass chord kind of things, and just the structure. It's like this would be a normal Blink song if they were playing it differently, but instead they've just stripped it down and made it kind of like classy and then to be singing these like wistful, nostalgic lyrics, which I assume we'll get into. But I feel like this is sort of like this makes sense as what California should be like. It should be these kinds of experiments that don't go full on like whoa, screaming into the sunset kind of vibe.
I mean, that's one of the things where like I'm not sure I agree with you, where I don't know if there's a way to play this where it sounds like a Blink song to me. Like to me the melody is like a real, it feels like a nursery rhyme, but in the worst possible way, like not in a Tom way. It's just like to me, the only good melody in the song comes in the coda, the skiba part. I think otherwise it's like very deliberate, and it feels like this song emerged from a songwriting workshop, you know?
Yeah, I can hear that for sure. Like because I think I'm just getting distracted literally by that one chord thing that I mentioned. Mm-hmm. And also there's like a lead guitar sort of melody when Skiba starts singing that comes in that's really cool. But yeah, the actual melody of the singing songwriting workshop is a good way to think of it. It reminded me of like Frozen, even though I barely remember that movie, but it seemed like something like that.
Yeah, like it just feels like a song. I was like, okay, you got to write. I've not seen Frozen, but like I feel like in any musical, you just have too many songs to write. Like there's no way someone can write 50 good songs. And so some of those songs are just going to sound like this. They're a way of advancing the plot. Like this feels like a song designed to advance the plot of Cali Lux. Yeah. And I guess the plot is just like, well, fuck. You know, I don't even know what the plot of that is.
Well, I guess that's yeah. And also it doesn't help the Disney lyrics. And Mark is the kind of guy who like, and I'm saying this as someone else who also loves this stuff, but he's like a Nintendo Switch cartoon guy. Like he's just like, he's sort of like what people describe, not me, but what people describe as like a soy boy or something. He's like the liberal that everyone makes fun of. Like he loves like Star Wars and like Funko Pops and stuff. And I like a lot of that shit too. But
do you like Funko Pops?
Well, I
oh my god, you like Funko Pops? You
really.
Oh my god, dude! You fucking told me that all I do is watch Justice League, and you own Funko Pop figurines?
No, I only have.
You're the gentleman gamer. It's you.
I have a couple. Well, we have a couple ET ones, and then I have
cool.
Ren and Stimpy one that I think I've hidden away now that that guy's a big time sex pest. But I honestly do love toys. I can't help it.
I get it. Yeah.
And so all I'm saying is like, I'm also that guy. But like, Mark is the kind of guy who will like talk about Splatoon for like 3 days. So for him to be singing this like Disney-ass song, Made a Wish on a Mountaintop, it just really doesn't, it's like, it makes you think like, maybe masculinity is being threatened.
Hold on. Did this song just radicalize you?
I think it did. Just while I was speaking out loud.
So that's interesting. This is so long lost feeling. Perhaps the feeling is that of understanding your place in society as a white male who can be proud of his heritage. Is that?
I guess so. No, but I do feel like I just think you can't open a song, especially like this, with "Made a Wish on a Mountaintop." Like that already. I feel like that's probably where you decided you hated the song, whereas I kept listening and then I was like, okay, there's a little bit to redeem here.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely been like marked to death in terms of like metaphors that are not super well thought out. And I don't know. I want to talk about the riff off the top just a little bit as well, because I also kind of like how it sounds, but to me, do you not feel like this song basically starts like a fucking mashup of Bored to Death and Adam song?
Yeah, it kind of does. But at the same time, it's like I'm okay with it. Like Bored to Death was already such a rip-off of Adam's song. I'm kind of over it since then. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, let's save that take. I don't mind the idea of like cribbing from yourself constantly. Again, you know, I was at Slayer last night and it was like 90 minutes of like basically one riff. Like Slayer fucking rules, but that's all. They got a thing and they do it very, very well. Sometimes it's slower, and that's sort of it.
Slower. Slayer. Gonna do a little bit of a wordplay here.
Wow, it's not working out too well, eh? We've really traded spots here. Like you're just like loving this musical ass song, and you can't do wordplay.
Those lyrics are really bad at the start, but I guess what I love is just like, well, also like Mark just tweeted, I guess late last night, early this morning, he tweeted, "Clocking in for the 3:30 a.m. lay in the dark and think about everything that's ever happened. Shift. Who up?" Now the who up is again like trying to talk like the youths of a year and a half ago. But other than that, it's like I feel like this song is kind of coming from an honest place where like he probably is more sad than we realize about everything.
Yeah, I think that's really fair. I think that these sorts of songs, like for all their flowery language, and you know, Bill Billingsley has made fun of me for this. And I'm literally only doing this now for Bill Billingsley, as opposed to Going Away to College, you know, which is a sad song about something that they could not have possibly related to at that time. This feels like somebody sort of trying to find a poetic way to grasp with, like, you know, I mean, I don't know some bigger ideas. It definitely still feels like a sort of sad, like My Partner Left Me type song. But I have no problem believing that, like, you know, just because Mark Hoppus is very successful and famous and like gets to be a king of the weekend, you know, every couple of days there in Las Vegas, Nevada, I have no problem believing that he like experiences some degree of existential dread, and that's like real, and that doesn't change. And I feel
because I guess when he mentions the guitar at the start too, because to me, Kings of the Weekend is so like not honest in any way, whereas this, when he mentions like the guitar, and I don't know, I just feel like he's talking about the long lost feeling of like those punk jump VHS videos that we love so much.
Is that how you interpret the song?
Yeah, that's really how I interpret it, is like, because I feel like that's why he's talking about it. Like, I don't think it's, maybe I'm just indoctrinated to think every song is about Tom, but I truly
you are like, you spend too much time on the Reddit, dude.
I know. I truly do think that this song is about the long lost feeling of like trying to recapture that explosive energy of being in a sick pop punk band that does punk jumps and it feels invincible, which can never be revisited and brought back no matter what. It's like you have to say goodbye to that no matter what. But you know, I've only been on tour like a couple times, and they haven't been like massive tours, but I still think back and like dream of those great shows, that like the best shows that you've ever played or whatever. And it's just not the same anymore. Even if you do have a good show, or you go to a good show, it's not the same as like the one that you saw when you were 18 or 16. And I feel like when I hear this song, I interpret it like that, where it's just like he's just like laying awake at night being like, damn, that long lost feeling. So that's why I like it.
I mean, that interpretation of the song makes me much more amendable to it. I just feel like wrote a song on old guitar, but the words were wrong. They made you walk away. Feels like it's a romantic song.
Yeah, I guess.
Like, do you think he means the crowds are walking away? Do you think he means Tom is walking away?
I don't know. Yeah, it's hard. I don't really. I guess I was sort of doing it more as like a tone poem rather than looking at individual lines. Right. And also because the phrase "long lost feeling" makes me think of like some like amazing core youth crew band like longing for the spirit of '88 to come back.
Right.
Which I'm like also so accustomed to, so I love that too. Like just like I could hear like a hardcore frontman delivering some of this stuff as like a youth crew speech between songs.
Yo, so maybe this should be one of your covers. I mean, I guess we'll see how many Long Lost Feeling covers there are, and like 3 hours or whatever, but
Yeah.
you doing a Youth Crew like hardcore monologue version of this song is certainly something that personally I'm very interested in.
Yeah, just like so many pick slides and stuff.
Yeah.
I guess the made you walk away part I feel like not necessarily as good, but he tried to write a song, the words were wrong. He was kind of getting writer's block and feeling frustrated about it. But then later on, Matt Skiba sings, he heard a song on the radio and it made him want to stay. So I feel like it's maybe like I'm ready to give up on music. I don't have that feeling, but then inspiration kicked in or something.
Yeah.
That's what I don't know. I was thinking it was like about still playing punk music in your 40s and trying to like understand what's going on and never being able to recapture the VHS warble of Live in 98 Waggy video.
You know, even if that's not it, we now know that the death of the author is the name for this sort of approach to understanding text, thanks to a smarter person than us, where we were like, what's the thing where it's like, what you mean is not the thing that people have to take that it means?
Whose name we have not bothered remembering.
No. Every time we do this on the pod, like, I'll be like, somebody on Twitter was like, Sam is cool. And they're like, it was nice to be mentioned even though you couldn't remember who I am. So thank you to whoever reminded us that the death of the author is the sort of theory of reading.
I believe it was Indie 88 that
yeah. So thank you so much to radio station, the Indie 88 morning show zoo crew, fucking the Badger.
Is Indie 88 named after the Youth Crew year? That would make it pretty cool.
Yeah, that's all they. I mean, you can't hear them because, well, you could listen to them online, and you should support them. But they, it's an all Youth Crew radio station that has a fairly substantial listener base here in Toronto because
That would
everyone.
be so sick, actually.
It's just, think of how fucking tired you'd get. 24 hours of just nonstop.
Just the same exact song.
Yeah, exactly. It's like one of those things that I've never understood about like being in a D-beat band, you know, where like there are a lot of genres that you can play in where like you kind of have some rigid parameters and that can be exciting. But just the idea of like, I want to spend all my time listening to and performing music that can only be played to one beat and that defines the genre is like, okay.
I love that. I mean, I can't really do it, but I always have this debate with people. It's something that truly like hardcore kids do the best is just, even when it comes to like power pop, like Tony Molina doing power pop, some of my friends, I don't want to out them publicly for not liking it, but some of my friends will be like, I can't listen to this. It's just like literally a verbatim, like you stole the homework of Teenage Fan Club. But I think it's so sick because hardcore guys don't even have like, they don't even have a soul. They just like perfectly steal an aesthetic. They just like absorb it like a sponge and then recreate it perfectly every time.
Well,
so
and again,
good.
And this is something that I'm now cribbing a sort of a take from friend of the pod, Aaron Zorgel again, but this idea that people who play in heavier bands or are just like fans of heavier music will occasionally say things about stuff like that where it's like, they're just ripping off someone. But like those songs are fucking good. Like the Tony Molina songs are so good. Writing pop music is really hard. And so when bands or people who are like, oh, yeah, we decided to go pop on this record, it's like just singing a melody isn't pop. Like just sort of understanding the basic parameters that Teenage Fan Club used to write music doesn't mean you're going to be able to write anything like as good as Bandwagon-esque or whatever. But like Tony Molina songs are really, really good. Like that takes a lot of talent. It's not just about, but generally I get your take.
It's kind of like, yeah, that's kind of like an endless debate, but it's even what you're saying about this song is like, you think it sounds too much like these other songs, but the fact that Mark Hoppus can still use these same ideas and come up with another song that does have some semblance of its own identity is still pretty impressive.
Totally. But do you not find, and this is the other thing I was thinking about listening to the song, is I actually don't think that Blink, like they have very clear kind of stylistic markers, but as compared to a lot of bands, they don't tend to fall back on the same like little melodic cliches or like transitional sort of tricks. Like this is the first time that like in a while where I feel like I listened to a song where I was like, this song sounds like A and B, like just mashed together. And I don't know of a lot of other songs in their catalog, which is crazy because they have how many songs?
I can't remember.
It's impossible to know.
Yeah.
But within that,
I don't know. Maybe what it is though is that it's not, I I kind of disagree with you. I think that they have basically they kind of use the same like 2 or 3 chord progressions all the time, and then they just apply that theory to different aesthetics. So whereas other bands will be like, we're gonna be this exact aesthetic, like D-beat or goth or what, like dark wave or whatever. Blink-182 is instead like, we're just gonna keep writing this. I wish I knew the name for the 4-note progression that is like U2's With or Without You or When I Come Around.
Yeah.
You know that one? But that's basically every Blink-182 song is built around that, no matter what.
But
and
they're the best chords.
4/4.
Or it's the best chord
like
progression or whatever it is.
It's the only chord progression that really matters, like that 4-note one. I don't really know. I've always wondered what it's called, and no one really explains it. But you know, like,
well, if you were like maybe the same person who told us that it was the death of the author, you can let us know what that like money progression is called.
Yeah, like it would be like G, D, E minor, C is an example of it or whatever. But I think Blink-182 just always takes that and then applies it to like different textures and genres and like bastardizes other like aesthetics with it. But I think that's why people still find it familiar.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's not like they're sort of like truly jumping all over the place, but even within that set of parameters, like they're not building identical melodies on top of that, you know? Like, it's very rare, and it's cropped up more, I think, as we've sort of dipped into the back half of the catalog, and you hear like, okay, there was an idea from some fucking Buddha song that got recycled 2 albums later, but it's like it's like the germ of an idea. But
and also maybe that problem of them not repeating melodies is why so many of these California Deluxe songs do sound like musical theater. He's like gotten too advanced at finding new melodies where it's because what was it 6/8 or something that like straight up there was a Phantom of the Opera cover.
Yeah, exactly. It's like just maybe rein it back in. Stop trying to be so ambitious, Mark.
But the thing that sounds like old Mark to me on this song is something that everyone gets mad about. But what do you think of this? So in the chorus, he sings "Golden years where I would smash the mirrors," like he rhymes mirrors with years.
Yeah, I hate that. I hate it.
Really, I love it. I think it's great.
What's happening to us today, Josiah?
I don't know. I think it's great. Why does it bug you? That's like such a like Punisher thing to be like. Actually, it's pronounced mirrors.
I just think it's. I don't even get it. Like, it's not one of those things where it's meaningless, but it's at least, like, evocative. I don't understand. Although, now that you've put me on this, like, this is about the Waggy Warble years, I guess, like, those would be the times when they would party fucking hard and break shit, right?
Well, to me, again... So I'm just mostly talking about people are mad about that rhyme, not necessarily the meaning of the lyric.
I hate the lyric. I don't care if you could rhyme.
I think it's so funny when people stretch things to rhyme. I think it's great.
Yeah, totally. It's just like language is yours to enjoy and employ in any way that you see fit. I got no problem with the rhyme.
Okay, yeah. Well, and then as for the lyric, I guess that's why I've always seen it that way, because it doesn't bother me because he's saying when he was younger he didn't give a shit about the future, so he just smashed mirrors all the time. Like 7 years bad luck. Like, who gives a fuck?
Now he's like really worried about luck.
Maybe, I don't know, but yeah, to me
you
that's
think
why
Mark
I saw
Hoppus
that
is really into astrology now. Like he's getting his fucking tarot cards read and
his Avengers tarot cards or something. Funko Pop Avengers Funko Pop tarot cards.
Yeah. He has all like Todd McFarlane designed tarot cards or whatever.
I don't know, but yeah, that lyric doesn't seem cheesy to me. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, this is like. I just feel like I'm sort of like floating out in the world now that you like love this insanely corny song. I will say this is I've mentioned before, like I forget what song it was, but there are songs that I like that I would feel really mortified and embarrassed if anyone knew that I liked it. So hopefully no one's listening to this episode. 'Cause this is like, if I had to listen to this with someone else in the room, I would feel so ashamed of myself. Oh yeah,
absolutely. But it's like sometimes you just have to admit, like, what is this song? There's this horrible song that's kind of like Mumford-ass, but also like it's called. I heard it on the radio yesterday when I was going to buy Chemex filters.
What is that?
Like for making coffee.
Oh, okay.
Walk the Moon, Shut Up and Dance. It's like so horrible, but when I hear it, I'm like, that was like the pre-chorus makes this song so good. Like I have to just admit, like,
oh yeah, the pre-chorus is good.
Right? The good and the bad.
Like, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the chorus is like, da-na-na-na, da-na-na-na-na-na, da-na-na-na. Shut up and dance. When I heard it in the car, I was like, God damn, this song is so embarrassing, but so good. Like, it's just written so well. You just have to, in my brain, I was like, I have to admit that this song is written well, even though I can never speak these words out loud to anyone.
I kind of wonder if, like, you Lil Dickied yourself when you talked to Dan Reynolds once.
Maybe.
Like, that you possess, because, like, clearly, you know, what was so compelling about your conversation with, you know, a friend of the pod, Dan Reynolds of Imagine Dragons, is that he makes, you know, big stadium pop rock, but, you know, he also was able to engage in a conversation about, like, garage rock with you and you know, tell you what he appreciated about Prenup.
Which I didn't want to heat up the moment, but I really don't like being associated with garage rock.
Oh wow! What do you?
You know, it's not really what we're going for.
Oh wow! So how would you do?
Piece of shit, Dan Reynolds.
How would you describe the music of Prenup, Josiah, for people who have maybe been misled by Dan Reynolds?
Sort of like indie pop, early twee kind of sound. But as soon as you record the tape, everyone's like garage rock. But then I start thinking of the Black Lips, and I don't want to be associated with that shit.
That's fair.
It's not good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think sorry.
You charged into that with and then it just like you fell off a mountaintop as if you were swept away by an avalanche.
It's because Primetime 69 just called me while I was talking to you, and do you ever get like it's like when you don't have an iPhone, do you?
No.
You have like a hacker phone. Or whatever.
Yeah,
anything that's not an iPhone is a hacker phone to me. It's like you pay for it with Bitcoin and stuff.
Yeah. My phone is blockchain powered.
But on an iPhone, when you're like on another call and you get a call, then like this menu of very confusing choices pops up, like end and accept, hold and accept. There's no like ignore button that's clearly available. So I always get so confused with this like crossroads of choices. I just fell apart there.
I feel like what does Primetime 69 have to say about all this?
Oh, I don't know. I feel like that would have been a bad idea.
Okay, good. Well, you know him better than me.
Yeah, but I think what has happened is that I've just gone through the other side of irony, where now I don't really understand good and bad in the traditional sense anymore, but I can. Because I still care a lot about songwriting, I can hear songwriting and be like, yeah, I got to admit that that's a good song, even though I don't want to.
So you objectively think this is a good song? Because I think we've had this with I think of like Los Angeles, right? Where that was a song that I objectively was able to say, like, the song sucks. It's a bad song, and I can't help but, like, I don't skip it. Like, I like listening to that song. So do you feel like this song is objectively good?
I kind of do. I think it's because it's just maybe it's my lyrical interpretation is helping too, but I think it's just like a really good sad song, and also their ability to hold back is really what makes it good. Because I will say, when Matt Skiba starts singing in his high voice at the end, it almost ruins it for me, because it just gets to be too much. Like it's just using a muted palette is kind of the last frontier that they haven't done too much. And even when they almost did it on like Home Was Such a Lonely Place or whatever, the song still kicks in a way that I love that this song doesn't kick in. It's so cool.
So it's interesting to me that what I like about the song, which is the Skiba part, and it's interesting that on Genius this is labeled as the bridge when it is like clearly not a bridge because nothing happens after it. That's what I like about the song, and that's the part that almost ruins it for you.
Yeah. I just feel like he's getting too emotive where it becomes cheesy again. Like, if you're going to do this, like, this sad borderline cheese song, then you got to keep everything muted. Otherwise, then it turns into Dashboard, which is unacceptable for me.
Well, see,
And I do like the song Shut Up and Dance With Me.
Right, and as the pod's resident Dashboard fan, I guess, I feel like the Skiba part's still relatively muted because it's not both of those octaves. And I think we talked about this in one of our many episodes that just evolved into me like trying to explain why I like love Matt Skiba in like increasingly convoluted and emotional terms. Is that like
that was when I was at your house, and it continued after we stopped recording.
Right, we stopped recording, and I kept trying to explain to you, and you were like, "Please let me. I live in another city. I need to get on a plane."
You were like about to go to the bathroom, and you wouldn't close the door because you were standing in the doorway.
That's not an exaggeration. Yeah, I needed to make my fucking point. So,
which was that Matt Skiba is good.
Yeah, that was the basics of my point, and he has such power, Josiah, in both the upper and lower end of his register. And so it's a real like alkaline trio kind of go-to to have like a really low mat in the first two verses. I should probably save this for my guest appearance on the Alkaline Trio podcast. And then bump it up to the upper octave for the third verse, and it like fucking kicks ass. But it layers really well. Like I just think sonically, like literally like the timbre of his voice, if he's doing both those things, and it gets used constantly on Alkaline Trio recordings, and it doesn't get utilized too much in the California songs, but this is an example of like you're getting both ends of his register, and I actually think it's like really just like from a like, and this is obviously me bringing my like immense bias as like a slobbering Alkaline Trio fan into this, that it just sounds really nice, like him doing both those octaves at the same time. And so I just love how it sounds. But I can understand where you're getting at.
Well, even I don't really like those lyrics very much either. Like I actually would love if it just ended before that and was even that simple of a song.
Yeah, I like the bit of a change. Like I like that it's sort of like A, B, C, and then you're kind of done. I think it just shows that it's almost like if you didn't do that, it could be like, okay, well, this is sort of like, is it lazy? I don't think it's lazy, but on some level, it wouldn't be like a completely unreasonable critique to level at the song. And I kind of think it just shows what's like, okay, here's like an additional idea that's sort of like this punctuation mark. And then
it does show more intentionality, I guess.
And it sets you up so obviously for a big chorus, right? Because you have little chorus, medium chorus, and the like just like
and baked, the drums are kind of building like ever so slightly.
Exactly. So the listener expectation when you go to a bridge is just like programmed into us from like every fucking time you've heard a song in your goddamn life that's how the song goes, and to not have that, like if you didn't have the Skiba part there at the end.
Okay, you're right. You're right. I'll give you the Skiba.
Wow, thanks, man. Thanks for giving me that Skiba.
On Reddit, somebody, it must be so frustrating if anyone from Blink-182's camp actually reads Reddit or pays attention to what people are saying, because you truly can't win. Because somebody said, the user Torcan808 said, I feel like something as simple as Matt vocalizing with whoa-ohs would have been great and very appropriate for the feeling of the song. So someone's complaining that there's no whoa-ohs. And then the best part of this thread on Reddit is that I didn't listen close enough to hear this. I'm going to listen again after because I'm very curious. But somebody said that there actually are whoa-ohs hidden at the end in the outro.
Secret with reverb.
There's secret whoa-ohs. So Fallen Riptide says, you can hear them right after Mark stops singing and before Matt starts the outro. They're used pretty much as background ambience. So actually there still are secret whoa-ohs.
It's like Felty just can't stop. This is like a man who's like, I'm good, I'm not drinking anymore, but he's got like the little airplane secret bottles zipper. Of vodka. Yeah.
Yeah. He's totally a secret sipper.
Yeah, like someone, like there needs to be an intervention where it's like your whoa-ohs are hurting all of us, John Feldman.
All right. Well, I've mentioned. No, I don't. This is a bad segue. I don't know what I'm talking about. Oh, we've already mentioned like being a punisher with correcting wordplay and stuff.
Yeah,
and this is a good example. Or a good time to bring up. I can't even speak today. What is going on with me? I'm falling apart.
I don't know, man. It's really hot in your house, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm sweating. I'm getting ready to strip down here in a second. We recently did an episode where we didn't realize till you were uploading it, because there's so many different versions of the song, that there's actually a typo in the song title.
Oh, God. That was so upsetting. Was I was like,
Because we would have spent so long talking about that. It would have been the worst episode ever.
yeah, and instead it was one of our many hits. So I'm grateful that we
top
avoided
5.
that. One of our, yeah, totally. But like,
But yeah, so they seem to have some real issues with this. So the song "Every Time I Look for You," it's uploaded. Everyone else who's like illegally uploaded it has spelled it correctly, but officially they put "every time" as one word.
yeah, they're not smart like us.
Yeah. So, and once again, I just noticed this is how pathetic and how much of a fucking loser I am. I noticed that in the lyric video as well, they spelled "every day" as "every day."
These fucking
Which
guys.
is you guys, and you're
Is this-
doing this fucking Dexter Holland watercolor shit animation with the words. You're not going to proofread it first.
Do you think like Dexter Holland is the sort of last line of grammatical defense in the
He's their
Blink-182
copy
lyric video?
editor?
Yeah, exactly. He is a doctor, right? Isn't Dexter Holland like a
Yeah,
fucking doctor? But
think
not of
so.
grammar, right?
A doctor of grammar? No, I think he's a doctor of
Is it physics?
flame painting on
Right.
board shorts.
Right, yeah. He's the doctor of Quicksilver, I believe.
Yeah, exactly, Dr. Quicksilver. Yeah, he has a PhD in longboarding.
Right, yeah. Dr. Bong. Billabong.
Bill A. Bong. Oh God.
A little segue or a little aside here, which is that we've toured and played a few shows with this insanely sick band that I love dearly. I think we may have talked about them on the pod before, Wilhelm Scream. And so they're from New Bedford, Massachusetts, and they were signed to Nitro Records for a number of years, and didn't have a ton of interaction with Dexter. Of course, Nitro Records was Dexter Holland's label. Maybe is. I don't know if it's still technically active. And stop me if I've actually told this anecdote on the pod before, but I don't think that I have. Anyway,
I don't think you have.
So they were doing Warped Tour one year when The Offspring was doing Warped Tour, and like they are like a working class band, like just grinding it out in a van. Like it's the band is their job. They're always fucking touring. Like they're working. They're not tour bus dudes. They're just like sweet dudes grinding. And so
It's so weird. Their name is like so Ronnie Radke to me when I see it, but they're not
Really?
like that at all. Like
No, they're not.
They have such a like crabcore kind of name, just from an objective distance.
yeah, I guess because I've been down kind of since day one. It's just like it's their name, and I actually think it's an incredibly sick name. And now you're really like kind of fucking me up with this Ronnie Radke shit. But anyway, so they're on Warped Tour, driving their van between stops, which is like the most arduous thing you can do because Warped Tour is built for buses. Like, if you ever like looked at the Warped Tour map, like every drive is like 8 or 9 hours, and so the bands that do it in a van, like you're truly kind of killing yourself for a summer in an attempt to like sell a lot of shirts. And so one day, somebody from the Offspring camp like kind of came by their merch tent or whatever and was like, hey, Dexter would love for you to like come on his plane for the flight between the next 2 stops. And they were like, okay, great. And so they got like a friend of theirs to drive their van. And for people who don't remember this, Dexter Holland had an airplane that flew under the banner of Anarchy Air, which is endlessly sick. And
I think we need to do like an actual, because I don't know enough about Dexter Holland, and every time anyone says anything about him, there's a hilarious thing that comes out of it.
I feel like Dexter Holland's probably like a fucking sweet dude. He's got like a hot sauce company. There are a
Does
couple
he have
of
a taco chain too, or is that someone else?
maybe
Like with Wee Man from Jackass. I think they might have a taco restaurant chain together.
that would be too perfect, and I love it. And like the Offspring have like a handful of legitimately like great top to bottom records, and then like outside of that, some really oh come on, Ixnay on the Ombre, bro.
I can't do it. It's too like grunty grunge sounding for me. I think I'm too young for it.
Aren't you and I the same age?
I'm like 6 months younger than you. That makes a big difference.
Okay. In terms of how you approach an album like Ixnay, I understand that. So they board Anarchy Air, and this I like love so fucking much, which is that Anarchy Air is just, it's a private plane, and stuffed into every single seat is just like 2 Coronas, and then there's just pizza everywhere. And I was like, that's what I would want to do if I was rich, right? It's just like Because this idea that like you get rich and your tastes change and you start liking shit that you never really liked and you only like because you're rich and it allows you to bond with other rich people is like very silly. And so if I was rich, I'd want my own plane and I want every seat to like come with a pizza and a Corona, and that would be fucking perfect.
Well, yeah, like I think sort of the fame of I'm just seeing there is something to do with Dexter Holland has definitely worked with Chronic Tacos before. I don't know if he's an owner or not.
Chronic
but that's
Tacos?
Taco chain. Yeah, there's one in Vancouver, I know for sure. It's like you can franchise it if you want. So definitely look into Chronic Tacos. Maybe we can get them as a sponsor on the pod.
Yes.
But I think Dexter Holland's aesthetic really points to like why Guy Fieri is the way that he is. You know, it's like
It's the same, yeah.
Yeah. So he's another example of someone who's just like living their life as a rich man, and we should stop being so mean to them.
I feel like the worm kind of turned on Guy Fieri, though, and people are so down now. Like, anyone who used to laugh at him is now, they realize that he was laughing at them. And, like, people are down with Guy now, right?
Yeah, I think you're right. All of this is to say, when the words every and day are together every day,
Yes.
your word processor is not going to catch it with the squiggly line because that is a word. I believe it's an adjective. But when it's being used here, it's not being used as an adjective. So you got to actually go beyond just looking for the red squiggly line when you're copy editing your Blink-182 California Deluxe lyric video, watercolor painting animation.
Because every day would be like, oh, Chronic Tacos is my everyday taco joint, right?
Yeah, instead of every day I long for Chronic Tacos.
Yeah, exactly. Those are different every days.
So, yeah.
So what else you got, Josiah?
Well, I found a new genre of internet thing
What?
that I didn't know about.
Okay.
Do you know about? I know that wife of the pod, Ashley has worked with people from Wattpad before.
Yeah, no, she
which
did.
is like
She did
the
a stint at Wattpad.
Fiction, what is it?
Well,
It's called Wattpad because you're like, what is this?
So Wattpad is like a sort of self-publishing platform. It's mostly used by younger people primarily, but there have been, books that have come out of it. They have a deal. I'm gonna totally biff this, but it's like literally they have a deal with Netflix or another sort of major video platform to turn popular Wattpad stories into sort of film and TV projects. Like, it's become a major force in publishing, and in particular self-publishing, and of course, like with the popularity.
Fan fiction.
Well, yeah. So, like, 50 Shades of Grey, which was not a Wattpad thing, is sort of like the high watermark of fan fiction. Started as Twilight fan fiction, has become its own sort of fascinating cultural force, and so Wattpad is in many ways sort of powered by and defined by fan fiction communities.
There you go. So, and that is something we've also have never really delved into, which is like the extremely grotesque Mark, Tom, and Travis orgy fan fiction kind of shit that's out there.
Well, that's pretty fucking judgy of you, but sure.
Sorry, not grotesque, but I meant to say graphic because it is.
Yeah.
Like it's
okay.
It's
So
like
that's a different way of putting it.
descriptive.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we're not going to get into that today. But I found something much more benign, which is called found poetry.
Okay.
And I'd never heard of this before, but it's kind of what we're talking about, the artist versus interpretation kind of thing.
Yeah.
So someone has done a long-lost feeling found poem, which is basically you just rearrange the words and say that it's your own thing. So I'm going to... Well, first of all, when I saw this, I was like, what is a found poem? So I looked up... I just Googled it. And then I found this description on Wattpad from this person that I thought was really funny. So I'm just going to explain her description. This is Nisa Anakind on Wattpad, How to Write Found Poetry. This is her explanation. While I have been using some degree of found poetry in my work almost since the beginning, pure found poetry from a single source has a stench of plagiarism about it. Like alleged found poet Hart Steely, who wrote a found poetry book where the single source was the press releases of Donald Rumsfeld arranged in poem-like lines. It seems to be common to use alleged found poetry of this sort to express hatred and contempt for another person whose political views you don't like. Personally, I think hating someone for being a Republican or a Democrat isn't any nobler than hating someone for being a Jew or a black person, but maybe that's just me. So really, this found poetry explanation went way off the rails.
Like, Jesus Christ. Yeah. Because, of course, you're born a fucking... an asshole. Yeah.
Yeah, no, she's really offended by this Donald Rumsfeld poem that someone made.
Nisa Anakind loves... Like, is Donald Rumsfeld her fucking dad? Like,
I know. I wouldn't be surprised.
The only explanation... Personally, I thought it was very rude to make fun of Donald Rumsfeld, our noble leader.
I just feel like maybe if you have this bias that you're trying to get out, hide it in your definition of found poetry a little bit deeper. Like, it's literally the second sentence is about Donald Rumsfeld. Also,
like, look, I don't mean to be like, fucking Trevor Noah here, but the idea that making fun of someone for being a Republican is, no different than making fun of someone for being Jewish is like this person needs to. Anyway, it's fine. Who cares? Who fucking cares?
So that's, I guess. What I can glean from that, aside from all of the begging for people to stop making fun of Republicans, is that found poetry is just rearranging lyrics and calling it your own. So Alex in White has a long-lost feeling poem that reads as follows. Actually, I'm going to let you read it because you need to put on your poem voice here.
Oh, thanks, man.
Yeah, I think it's time.
It's like okay, so this is a poem called Long Lost Feeling. Poem. Said I could have anything I want. I made you walk away. Golden years spinning with sadness, like a tidal wave washed all away. Sleepless nights of stormy skies, smash the mirrors bored. A wreck on the ocean floor, made a wish on a mountaintop to make you want to stay.
Ooh,
wow.
It actually is better than the song.
It is. I think found poetry is fucking sick.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
Yeah, I'm thoroughly moved by that. Now I want to read all this Donald Rumsfeld found poetry.
Me too. I wonder how good that is. But weirdly, it's not even the only poem that popped up. So when I searched Blink Long Lost Feeling on SoundCloud, I found, and I really got to say, I pretty much hate poetry. I'm one of those people. I just can't get into it. It's like not for me.
I want to like poetry because I think it would make me smart.
Yeah, exactly. Like to be one of those people who's like, oh, actually, you just haven't read the right poetry. Like, I wish I could say that, but I just I can't do it. It's not. Well, it's just like one of those things that's just not good, and everyone needs to admit it.
But also, like lately or in the last year, I've read books by people who are poets by trade. So guest of the pod, Hanif Abdurraqib, is a poet. Patricia Lockheed, whose book I fucking love, she is a poet. Like that's how those people ostensibly,
right. And
define themselves professionally.
Toronto's Emma Healy, who is a friend of mine, she's a poet as well.
Yeah, so
I've never read her poems, but I like her Twitter.
Yeah,
so that's got to be something.
And in all of those cases, I've sort of felt like maybe their approach to language, presumably in their poetry, is what informs the power of their more narrative writing, I guess. But so I wish I could, but it's not. It's fine.
Well, here's something that should solidify that poetry is bad. So this person, Eris Hart, just uploads poems to SoundCloud. And this one, I guess, has the words blink, long, lost, and feeling in it. So let's just hear what it sounds like.
Yeah.
December Song. Time passes moment by moment, yet time stands still. When you blink, a wind creeps from the sea, an eerie feeling following me, a whirlwind struggling to comprehend my necessity to friends, open minds and open hearts. Their love never falls apart. It's in this moment of silent warning that we are all sworn into this life of heartache, so that we may be straight, a crooked arrow, a lost compass, a dispassionate heart in a world of nonsense, a blurred perception of reality, a stolen truth appeared to me. This love never dies, only lost by severed ties. So will I ever let go forever? Shall I say no? This lamb may continue to stray, continue to be lost and disobey, but never shall it stay too long away from a home so desperately craved.
Damn. Doesn't it just feel like even listening to that, you feel like someone is just making eye contact with you without letting you escape? It's so claustrophobic.
Well, we've joked about this, I think, before. Maybe we've only talked about it off pod, but when we originally started trying to record, I thought like having a conversation over the phone is a really inorganic way of talking to someone because you never know when they're done, and it's like it's awkward. You talk over each other. And so I thought that when we were recording this, we should be doing it over Skype video. And it was so uncomfortable that we immediately shut it down. And the one time we recorded in person, it was like really awkward. So no, that was like sustained eye contact. I didn't feel good.
And that's no disrespect to Eris, because I feel like that's pretty much all poetry makes me feel like that. I'm sure that your poem about whatever that was about is a good one.
Yeah,
one of the good ones.
This is about us. It's not about her. However, I kind of wonder now, like, are SoundCloud poets a thing? Like the way, like, you know, Instagram poets are. This is something that I totally missed until there was kind of like some controversy around like. There's like a popular
those, like,
Instagram
really corny ones.
Poets and then like real poets were so mad that people like Instagram poets or whatever, like their poetry is pure and so is SoundCloud poetry like
maybe it's like the SoundCloud rap of poetry?
Yeah. It's like they all have face tattoos and like
and they do like little ad libs like
yeah, it's just like really fucking wavy poetry, man.
See, this is what's happening with the pod is that you're going to need to quit Harvard Online because all of these different threads are all possible This Exists episodes. Like there's probably like a schism in the SoundCloud poetry community. Someone got a book deal, an audio book deal, and everyone's pissed about it. Or like they hired a real voice actor to read their poem and it gave them an unfair advantage.
Well, don't worry. Like, I'm almost done Harvard Online. Like, I'm like weeks away. So
you're like on the last level.
Yeah, exactly. The final boss of Harvard Online.
John Harvard.
Yeah, of course. So yeah, I'll be able to really get into the SoundCloud poetry scene shortly.
Well, let's get out of poetry world. That was our new weekly segment called Poetry Corner. So look for that from now on.
You took a minute to vamp and get to Poetry Corner there, eh?
Yeah,
like that, I thought I was feeling shitty today, but you're just like you're dull
like
today, just
yeah, exactly. Falling apart. But no, I'd like to get us back into where we belong, Indonesia season.
Oh, fuck yes.
So this is not an audio thing; it's a visual thing, as
of
usual.
Course,
the best kind of thing on the podcast. But this really plays into my thought that this song is sad about sort of like longing for the good old days, which is funny because there's also a song called Good Old Days on here that I thought was going to be the sad one, but this one... Anyways, all of this is to say, I found this bootleg shirt on this Jakarta fucked up like Etsy AliExpress type site, and it is so good. It's a black bootleg shirt, and it says "Long Lost Feeling" around the Blink-182 happy face logo, but it's a sad face.
Wow. Okay, yeah. So it's the sad logo, and then it just says "Long Lost Feeling" around the circle. And this shirt is only 85 RP, which it looks like that's Indonesian rupiah, and that's like
I think that's wrong because it must be 85,000, right? Like I think the dot is wrong. I'm having a problem where Google will not translate this site. I was going to try to order this shirt because I love it so much.
It's so less than $8 Canadian. It's $7.84 Canadian. So we should get this shirt.
It's so good.
Dude, I cannot believe that Indonesia season has gone so far as to support your theory that Long Lost Feeling is a good song in the form of a bootleg t-shirt.
Right? But am I not wrong? I mean, the sad face it adds to it because you're like, damn, even the Blink-182 logo is sad about how good things used to be.
What the fuck, man? No, and the seller has 90% on whatever this knockoff Alibaba type site is. So, like, This is reliable, man. You should get this.
Well, I sent it to Marsden, the merch pundit, and he said it looks like it was made in a high school art class. Like, it really does have some feeling of jankiness to it. I think it's like the way... I think the long lost feeling writing, the circle doesn't necessarily match the circle in the middle.
Yeah.
It's just everything about it is so fucked up. But then I zoomed in, and on the tag inside it says, unofficial merch by Revelator. I know this is not real. That's what it says. It's printed inside of the shirt.
What? Also, like the font, like the actual long lost feeling font itself is like very bad. Like it just looks like it's like Arial or something. I mean, it's not an inspired font choice.
But it's weird too because you don't really see bootleg Blink-182 shirts very often, and I think that's a genre that I'd like to see crop up more.
Yeah. Also, like the frowning face is also crying. Like there are tears falling from the X'd out eyes.
Right. Yeah, I just assumed that was like spray paint residue.
No,
but does the regular logo not?
I mean, I know.
Yeah, the regular logo doesn't have those drips.
No, those are tears from the long lost feeling of missing those waggy warbs, man.
The waggy warbs. Yeah, this bootleg shirt is so fucking good. So I'll post it, obviously, but the website is called Bukalapak, and I looked it up, and it's like... It's kind of like Indonesian, like eBay or whatever.
It's so sick. I just like, I know we've talked a little bit about this logo, and you guys talked about it obviously on the Merch Pundit exclusive, but you know, I saw maybe one or two shirts or hats when I was at Pouzza Fest in Montreal a couple weekends ago of people sort of rocking some Blink shit, and it was just like this, like, oh fuck, like it's so distressing that this became the iconic, like this is the band's logo. And it just couldn't be worse. Like, this has got to be one of the worst band logos of all fucking time.
Oh, and I know, especially like the gradient one, like with that. It's like, oh, it's so gross.
Yeah, thank you for sending it to me so I could enjoy it.
But that somehow makes this weird Indonesian parody shirt that much better.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it. I love it. I hope that if you find a way to order it, you will consider ordering me one, perhaps as a gift.
Well, I feel like I could order it if the page would translate. Like, I don't know what Belly Sekarang means, but it's green. I assume that's the order button.
That's got to be how you buy.
Yeah, but then where's the sizing?
Yeah.
They're all size large or extra large, I guess. I don't know. This is crazy.
So
we need some Indonesian listeners to help us out here and translate this page for us. So we can buy these shirts.
Like, you would think, it feels like we've managed to build up, you know, at least, like, I think we have sort of some listeners who are all over the world, but we have like vocal fans that we know, like by name, from certain places in the world, right? Like we know, like we have, you know, a UK ambassador. We have like, you know, the Voice of Australia. We have, you know, people who are like, who have become the kind of de facto spokesperson for their entire region. And like, despite viciously pandering to Indonesians for months now, like, how has anyone from Indonesia like messaged you at all? Like, I'm not looking at the socials all the time, but I feel like,
well, I guess, you know, there's on Libsyn, which is the site that we use to upload the pod. There's like a map where you can see who's listening where, and I would be able to see if someone was listening in Indonesia if I knew where it was on the map, but I don't because I'm a piece of shit, so I have no fucking idea.
Okay, well, but anyway, so if you are. If you want to become the Indonesian ambassador of the pod,
that's like a big job description.
It's heavy. That's heavy lifting. But at the very least, it's probably preferable to being one of our Australians, where you're just constantly having to admit that, like, yeah, like everyone here fucking sucks.
Exactly.
But it is, you know, as they say, heavy is the head that wears the crown. So, you know, if you're ready to step up and sort of represent Indonesia on behalf of the pod, and help us figure out how to order this fucking shirt, please do so.
Well, maybe we should order a couple and do a nice little markup.
Ooh, a mark up.
Ooh.
I'm into it.
Now I'm seeing if this user has other like bootleg shirts.
All right.
There's one that says Blink-182 Indonesia on it.
Oh, we should get those.
And this ties it all together. The same user is selling TV remote controls. Also known as a blinker, maybe.
Fuck. God damn it, dude.
Okay, well, we're almost ready for covers here, but I just wanted to show you another example of just how sad this song really is.
Okay.
There are such few things that I searched it on Twitter as well, and someone just has posted a video of like the song playing in their room, and so the song is just like in the background, like really thin and shitty sounding, and it's just like they must just be laying in their bed. I don't know. There's just like a poster of a plane, and then it says Spider-Man on the wall. Like, it's just the most depressing 9 seconds I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, my God. Also, just the idea of having a poster of a plane is the most, like, just generic child's room decoration ever.
But even trying to understand this video of someone looking up from their bed, filming upright for Twitter, what is that Spider-Man thing? It looks like it was handwritten afterwards.
I don't know. You're going to have to, like, please go on the Twitter, because I also can't even understand how it's fitting into the, like, roof. Like, it's a little bit of there's a weird effect happening there where it looks like...
Yes. It's like when people do those chalk drawings that make it look like a spiral staircase going into the ground.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Those things always
totally
go viral.
Yeah, it's like a child's room as imagined by MC Escher. It's very confusing.
Oh, my God. So I was just looking at who this person is, and when I clicked to translate their tweets, guess what language it was translated from?
Indonesian?
Oh, yeah, baby.
Holy shit. Wow. Indonesian season, man.
Indonesia is just like a pop-punk paradise.
You should message this person and see if they want to listen to the pod and become our ambassador.
We mentioned your depressing-ass, horrible bedroom on the podcast in this terrible video that you posted.
Well, no, we just said that it was, like, curious. That's all we said.
This video was posted a year ago tomorrow.
Oh, happy anniversary.
Impressive.
All right.
Happy anniversary to this video.
I had a thing show up actually in my calendar. You know, we do this thing where I'm like, I'm going to do blah 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 blah. So I have for tomorrow, which is the day before. If you're listening to this podcast on the day it comes out on Friday, it's for Thursday of this week. Joania anniversary, which was some YouTube thing where I was going to have to go back and wish that person a happy anniversary.
It was someone's wedding video.
Okay, well, I'm going to Google that later.
But then what I realized, we made this whole production about it, and then like the day after, I was like, wait a minute, they probably didn't upload the video to YouTube the day that they got married.
Right. Unlikely. Highly unlikely.
I mean, maybe. They might have been really excited to get it up there.
Just like, sorry, honey, like, we can get to the reception, but I got to upload this video.
Hey, I want to lose my virginity as much as you, but we gotta get this video up.
Some things are more important.
All right,
man.
Sam.
Yeah.
Are you ready for covers?
I'm fucking ready, Josiah.
I was gonna try to drag this. You said that you were in a bad mood and it had been a long day, so I wanted to try to drag this out as long as possible. But
thanks.
There's just such little to talk about.
There's just not that
song.
much. That's great.
Yeah,
I was even like, I
kind of
gotta pee, but I was like, I think I'm gonna wait. I feel like there's not that much left.
You're gonna really? You're gonna hold it?
I'm gonna hold it. Let's go. All
right.
I'm in a pee crunch right now.
I'm making pee noises to make you pee yourself. Does that work, really?
I don't know. Does sticking someone's hand in warm water work? I mean, like, I worked at camp long enough. I should know, but I don't. Anyway.
I feel like that's bullshit. Well, this one I just wrote down because it's hilariously quiet, and like I was listening to it on my laptop and I couldn't even figure out what it was. So I have my computer plugged into speakers. I'm gonna crank it and hopefully we'll be able to hear what's going on.
This guy kind of looks like Dan Reynolds from Imagine Dragons.
Yeah, he kind of does.
Yeah.
So this is JL Henderson 35 on SoundCloud.
Okay.
And he did a cover of Long Lost Feeling, but I feel like I heard like a. What are those things called that are like it's kind of like a little keyboard, but you blow air into it while you play.
Oh, melodica, yeah.
Yeah, it sounded like there was one of those maybe, but I might have been hearing something outside too, so I don't know. I have no clue what this would sound like.
Somebody in your neighborhood was playing a melodica?
Yeah, exactly.
Made a wish on a mountaintop, but an avalanche came and washed away. Wrote a song on an old guitar, but the words were wrong, they make you walk away. could be anyone I want, but I was born. Every day turns into sleepless nights. My head is spinning with the sadness of a long lost feeling.
Wow.
I mean, that made me feel two ways. One, I kind of loved it because it was just like too intimate in a way that I was just compelled by. But then it also horrified me in the sense that it reminded me so much of like stuff that I used to do on my 4-track when I was a teenager.
Oh yeah.
Like, and you know, where I'd be like recording like late and trying to do some fucking Get Up Kid song or whatever. And like just be doing exactly that. Like where you're just like, you're being so quiet and it's so intimate. And this is the memory that it actually triggered in me, which made me like recoil and that I feel I must compulsively share, which is that like, I remember, like, I'm very, very blessed, extremely fucking fortunate to have wonderful and endlessly supportive parents. But I remember, like, being on, like, a fucking road trip or something somewhere, and I had ripped all of my demos that I was doing, like, onto a computer and then burnt a CD so I could, like, listen to them or whatever. And my parents, again, in their, like, boosterism and, like, just general kindness, we're like, we would love to hear it. And we presumably spent like an hour of this road trip listening to like me doing that, you know, but with like, I'll Catch You by the Get Up Kids. And it just like, is one of those things now that I just, it makes me shiver so much that I feel that like my skin is going to separate from the rest of my body and I'll never be whole again.
I know exactly what you mean. I definitely did shit like that too. But I've kind of been getting into that stuff again in a weird way lately. Like last week I plugged in a Hayden song into the Seinfeld 2000 interview. And then since then I've been listening to those like older Hayden albums, and I've been listening to like Low lately and a lot of slowcore stuff. And I do love the minimalism of it. But then he was doing this like emotive singing that really grossed me out.
Yeah, like, that was not necessary.
Yeah. He sounded like he sounds like he's an RA who really wants to be like a late 90s slowcore performer, but he needs to pick a path. You can't be both.
You can't be an RA and in low.
Yeah, exactly.
That's fair, man. I think that's a total, truly. You cannot walk both of those paths simultaneously.
But the story that you just told reminded me of the times when I used to have my iPod when we'd be on road trips with our friends or on tour. And people would discover the folder that was called Josiah Hughes, which was just things. And it's not even songs. It was like I had uploaded interviews so that I could transcribe them. They'd put them onto the card. It was so mortifying to just hear like, "Oh, can you hear me? Okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and start now. So what are you up to today?" Like just like the same fucking embarrassing ass interview, and everyone laughing at me. Life is so painful.
Yeah, our lives have been hard, clearly.
Okay, let me see here. I'm going to skip... Well, no, I'm just going to click this one.
I was like, there's enough that you can skip them?
I'm going to skip this. Yeah, I'm going to skip this one because I don't want to be too mean to this person.
Okay.
And it sucks. It straight up sucks. So this is how you know that I'm playing bad things for a reason, because this one fucking sucks and I'm not going to play it.
Cool. Good for you, Josiah.
But you know, okay, here's a good one. I'm just trying to read the order here so I don't fuck it up. Okay, you know what? I wish I knew the name, but when one kid does a cover on YouTube and they play all the instruments and split up the screen, I love that. It's so cute.
Yeah, sure. I mean, does
you know
it have
what I mean?
Yeah. Does it have a name?
I don't think it has a name. I don't know, but it's something that it keeps popping up in here that I hadn't really seen before. But it seems to be a very popular thing that people do. So
don't you spend time on YouTube? How have you not seen that before?
I don't know. I guess I never really watched too many covers before. I was always into like room tours and like trying to find hoarders and stuff. Like,
right.
You know, like I don't know. I was never really looking for like earnest covers until this became my entire life. But yeah, so this is Elijah, Cajipe. I don't know how to spell that. But he uploaded this, and it's one of these split screen ones, and I'll play it now.
Made could be anyone I want, but I was bored.
Okay, so a couple things. First of all, I think this kid definitely goes to church because
Oh yeah.
only church people have 5-string basses.
So-
you're either in the Dave Matthews Band or you play in church if you have a 5-string bass.
And there's another
'Cause they
big
love that
tell.
low end.
Right. You gotta get that brown note in church for sure.
What's the other big tell? Is there? What are you seeing?
He's wearing a T-shirt that says "Thank God for Punk Rock."
Oh, right, but that's a famous Stars and Straps shirt that came out to coincide with.
Okay.
Because I think that's from Kings of the Weekend. But yeah, I mean that's definitely some good Christian marketing to do that.
Well, and then if you click through to his Twitter, in his banner, he's definitely with his youth group, and there's a giant sign that says "Welcome to your new home church." So you're telling me that like this dude is 100% Christian, and you actually
and I picked it up because of the 5-string bass. That's the only. I did not click through before.
You can smell your own, man.
I told you. I thought of a term for it. It's called you can't like. People used to say they had gaydar, but it's kind of, I feel like that's an outdated term, but I think I have praydar, where I can tell if people are,
If they pray.
sure.
That's good. He also,
The main reason that I wanted to show you this video is because I can't believe that as everyone heard, the drums are like kind of matching Travis Barker's ghost drum pattern that he's doing. This kid is doing them live on some sort of program where it shows drums, and then he's like typing in the keys. It's like he's drumming on his keyboard, like as if he's like typing 60 words a minute or whatever.
oh yeah, that's I kind of cruised away from it pretty quickly to try to figure out what his deal was. Another thing that you might love about him, Josiah, is his Twitter handle, which is at Elijah Straight Edge. Straight, of course.
Oh hell yeah!
With an 8. So, and he's from the Philippines, which like we've had some sort of like Filipino love, not obviously as heavy as Indonesia when it comes to sort of foreign nations, but like still, fans.
Well, yeah, I mean, so there's a lot to love about this video. You get a full glimpse at this boy's life, and it's like the perfect balance of sounding shitty but also well done.
Yeah.
It's like, it's so good.
I'm so happy for you to have found this nice Christian straight edge Filipino boy to be friends with.
My new best friend. I can't wait to play on the worship team with him. Yeah, the tale
what's a worship team?
So that's like the band that will play in church and play all the songs that sound like "With or Without You" by U2 but have Christian lyrics, and that's why they need that 5th string so they can go do 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 do. They get really low on the low F.
But it's called a team? It's called the worship team?
Yeah, usually they'll say the worship team, I think. I think that's pretty universal. And then the drums will always be like encased in this like plexiglass
right,
thing.
yeah.
Because they're too obsessed with mixing it perfectly, which just means making it so you can only hear the acoustic guitar.
Yeah.
Like it's the whole thing is just, but yeah, I'm so glad I just saw that 5-string bass. I knew that the T-shirt was Blink merch, so that wasn't the tell, it was the 5-string bass.
Yeah, okay.
So we got a couple left here. And first things first, I'm going to go to an old friend and an actual Facebook friend of mine, Lucas D.
Oh, right, yeah.
Who is from Germany, I believe. And he does tons of Blink covers, and he does them acoustic, but he's not like... Odie acoustic, I feel like, has this air about him that he's trying to get laid, maybe. But Lucas D is just very, like, sincere. He's just like a dude taking a break from being a man living in Germany just to, like, just to cover some songs acoustically in a nice way. So I really like Lucas D. And here's his take on this song. Oh, no, what I was going to mention is the title card of this video, which, weirdly, it doesn't load when I don't know if it loads.
I didn't see it.
Yeah, I guess you can kind of see it. I pasted it in here. You can kind of see at the bottom where it says "Long Lost Feeling." It's in the Real Big Fish font. That's what I should mention.
That's good. Shout out to Bill Billingsley.
Yeah, so there's a lot of font talk and a lot of poetry talk this week. It's really a bad episode. So here's Lucas D.
Made a wish on a mountaintop, but an avalanche came and washed away. Wrote a song thoughts were wrong that make you walk away. Said I could have anything I want forevermore. Said I could be anyone I want, but I was bored. Every day turns into sleepless nights. My head is spinning with the sadness of a long lost feeling. Golden years.
I love
Lucas D with those harms.
Lucas D always nails the harms, and he does it in a classy way where it always sounds like the Proclaimers to me. So I gotta shout out Lucas D, my good Facebook friend who approved me and has spoken to me once. Shout out to him.
What did you guys talk about?
I think I just told him that he was mentioned on the pod.
And he was like, Donka.
Yeah, no, I think he listened and was into it. So.
Oh, okay, sick. Well, if he's still listening, Lucas D, keep up the good work.
And stop listening now because I want to make fun of your room a little bit. Right. Because there's a Scream mask.
Yeah, he's got the Ghostface mask.
On the wall, is that like an S Club 7 poster or like High School Musical or something? Or
wait,
I can't tell.
He's a man after my own heart. What is that? That's not S Club because I think S Club had more members because there was 7 of them, and so there's 5.
There's definitely like some sort of 2001 group posing in the most 2001 way possible.
Yeah, it looks like it's 4 guys and a girl, and they look extremely 2001. So if you have any idea of a popular group in Germany at that time. But look at the Scream movies are great. So like shoutouts Ghostface. Not sure.
Just a very dark thing to have in the background of this particular video. I feel like.
Well, and it's an otherwise completely white wall. So like occupying a very tiny amount of space is the Ghostface mask and this one photo. Like it's not a poster. It looks like a postcard. And otherwise, There's nothing adorning the walls at all. So.
And I got to say, I really do like his fresh grooming on his.
Beard. Like his beard is like
very fresh, but it also reminds me of I think it was Gawker or someone. This was many years ago. Posted a thing about how if you have stubble like that, it proves that you're a sociopath. Like people who groom their stubble to look like it's that short instead of just letting it grow and then shaving it bare. Then there was this whole article about how that makes you a sociopath. So it's not my words. Lucas D.
Wow.
I was reminded.
You had some real cruel things to say about Lucas D in this episode.
Lucas D is my closest friend, and I love him.
Right, but he's a sociopath.
I didn't say that. It was Gawker.
Right, Gawker said he was a sociopath. Okay.
And they're gone. Look where that got them insulting Lucas D.
That's right. Forgot when Peter Thiel backed Lucas D to sue Gawker out of existence.
Yeah, exactly. All right, we got 2 left. This is one. So there's so few covers that I was even digging into Twitter. This is like a real obscure song, and I feel like
there's so few Twitter covers that you literally repeated yourself by saying there were so few covers that you ended up digging into Twitter.
I meant in general, there's so few covers.
No, I get that, but I just mean you literally used the exact same phrase to describe your search on Twitter like 10 minutes ago.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I feel like this is a real missed opportunity because it's such a empty like. The fact that the song is so restrained and scaled back, there's so much room for someone to like remix it or put an awful rap verse in it or make it a pop punk version. Like there are unlimited things you could do with the song, and few people have done anything with it. So
is this you teasing the fact that your first cover is going to be "Long Lost Feeling," Josiah?
No, but I think I'm definitely going to have to cover this for the Patreon. I mean, there's no question. It's so good.
And there's so much room for you to do whatever the fuck it is you're going to do.
Yeah, and there's so few covers of it on Twitter. But yeah, so this person on Twitter, I am Sky Ann. She did a piano cover that sounds really nice.
Oh, lovely.
So yeah, here we go. way that she's sort of like playing it a little bit sloppy makes it that much more like emotive.
I love it. Like it's sort of like she's trying to find the chord every time, and so she's not like totally in sync. It's a little janky in a way that is utterly charming. Also, the way the first chord kind of hangs there, it sounds a lot like the beginning of Life on Mars by David Bowie, like that.
Oh yeah,
it's a god-awful small affair.
It kind of sounded like the Beaches soundtrack to me.
Yeah,
Did you
yeah.
ever know that you're my hero?
Yeah, David
I
Bowie,
remember
the
my
Beaches,
mom
same
like
thing.
putting that cassette on when I was a little kid, and, like everyone getting all misty-eyed.
Like the whole house just burst into tears.
Yeah, just like oh.
Primetime 69?
I don't think he was born yet at that time. It wasn't primetime yet. But finally, thankfully, there is one very interesting thing that I found, although it's more, you have to use your imagination a little bit. Because this is a MIDI version of what could be the greatest thing ever.
What? Oh my God, who the fuck would do this?
I know. So Rachel Hoots, good name, she has done an arrangement for a drum corps to play this song.
Oh my God.
Could you imagine? Like, how frustrating is that it's not actually... So you can get the sheet music from Muse Score, and it's also in this video. So if you are... Look, if you're listening and you're in a drum corps, first of all, shout out to you for being awesome.
Yes.
But second of all, please perform this
Do
for
this.
us.
I'm amazed. Like, I mean, I played in a community band and knew and went to a performing arts high school, and I knew some kids that were like good at arrangements, and it's always like blown my mind to be able to do something like this. And so like you'd have a kid who would like for the band arrange Bohemian Rhapsody, and you're like, how the fuck does your brain do that? Like, I truly am astonished by this. So to take that skill and doing drum corps stuff is like its own insane thing. And do it for a California Deluxe Blink-182 song is like such an intense endeavor that like so few people are going to give a shit about. I fucking respect it so much.
Exactly. And so few people do, because this only has 167 views, despite it being... I mean, well, let's listen to... And
Let's
like
see
I
how
said,
it
you
is,
gotta,
yeah.
You got to close your eyes and imagine, like, a marching band doing this shit or whatever. But,
Okay.
Here we go.
Fucking awesome.
good.
If you are in a drum corps, you have to do like bring this, print this off, go to the Twitter,
Yeah.
find the link, go to the description, find that link, print off the
It's
music.
a lot of work. Admittedly, it's a lot of work
Rush
to do all that.
And this is the other thing is like it's fucking May, so like are the drum corps all shut down for the summer? Like to me that feels like it's like a college high school thing, right?
Well, there is like, for example, the Calgary Stampede is coming up. I know they have a like that kind of shit there, but
Well, you got
I
to
don't
do your
really-
part then, Josiah. So, oh my God, someone's got to make this happen. Also, you got to make a note for a future episode because this person is clearly just like publishing their like various arrangements, some of which appear to be originals, some of which are also covers, including a saxophone duet, "What's My Age Again," which is also
shit,
going to be
that's
it's
awesome.
sheet music, and so it'll be performed by like just this program outputting it as a MIDI file. So it's going to sound insane, but like I want to make sure we come back to this. So that fucking ruled.
Yeah, Rachel Hoots is cool, and she has a great name.
Yeah, shout out Rachel Hoots. I'm hooting for you. Hoot hoot.
Like that was because even the MIDI version, then you just feel like you're in like some sort of cool pop punk Zelda game.
Yeah, totally. Well, there's it reminds me of there's this "Am I Wrong?" the Love Spit Love song, but like what's his name, Richard Butler from Psychedelic Furs, like his sort of side project, and it's like this sort of like pretty normal ass, but extremely excellent, but like not like a shocking song. Otherwise, it's just this kind of slow, mid-tempo kind of Psychedelic Furs type song, but it's got a marching band in the background. It just sounds so fucking good. So yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. I wish it was real.
I know.
I hope it becomes real.
Maybe someone can make it real. Maybe that person is you, Josiah, at the Calgary Stampede this summer.
So, Sam, we've had a marching band. We've had a beaches piano. We've had bootleg Indonesian merch. There's been poetry. There's been so much stuff. Has anything about this song changed for you?
You know, I'm happy to say no. I think the song fucking sucks. So my final thought on Long Lost Feeling is there's a couple of really good ideas in here, and especially even hearing the piano version and some of these other things remind me that like I respect the arrangement. I like what they're trying to do. You sort of trying to sort of pivot my point of view and show that it's about Tom, like every Blink song, was interesting, but I will never listen to this song again in my fucking life. How about you, Josiah?
Yeah. Well, I'm very upset that I couldn't change your mind, but yeah, I kind of think that MIDI arrangement, as much as I love the drum corps aspect, it did really remind me how much this melody is kind of saccharine Disney cartoon-esque.
Hold on,
melody.
wait. So not only did I not change my mind, but did we convince you it was a bad song?
No, but I still like it. I still think I just like that it's like, I don't know. It makes me think that maybe there's some little gems that are worth. It makes me think that California Deluxe might not be so bad if things are. I thought this was going to be a bad song, and I didn't hate it with all my heart. So maybe, just maybe.
So it's given you hope for the next like 155 episodes that are all dedicated to California Deluxe?
It's made me feel that long lost feeling.